Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome, Jean-François Rous. He is an esteemed client of ours at Lux Research, and we are introducing him into our Innovation Leaders series, where we profile some of the best innovation leaders in the world and what they're doing today, so we can all learn and be inspired by them. So welcome, Jean-François.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marisa.
All right, let's move on to kind of talking about, as you are looking outward and you see a lot, what are the emerging trends that you're seeing today and are shaping the future of your organization?
So there are some trends which I would classify as the common trends for any business, like sustainability, obviously. I mean, I don't even want to mention that as a trend anymore, because that's integrated now in our DNA. I mean, we do not initiate. If I talk about process improvement or process innovation, I mean, any new process we integrate has to have a positive impact. I mean, if it doesn't, or if it's only on the economic aspect, we don't do it. Okay, it's now, to be fully honest, if it has a positive impact but a negative impact on the economics, it might be difficult to do it as well. Okay, so we try to combine positive impact on the greenhouse gas emission and positive impact on the economics, which is at the end of the day the definition of sustainability. Okay, it's not just about environment; it's environment and economics. The second one, which is a trend which is becoming more and more pregnant in our sector. This is all about the trade barriers. Should it be the tariffs issues we are facing today, but also the regulatory aspects. A few years ago, basically that was FDA and EFSA, FDA US, EFSA in Europe, and if your product was registered by one of these two, most of the other countries around the world were taking this as the proof, and they could launch the product. Now it's over. Each region and almost each country has its own system, so it's becoming more and more complex to register a product. And we are operating in a business which is highly regulated, which means that it takes longer and longer. And I mentioned that because that has impact on how we do our R&D part of the project. Because if the regulatory one is taking longer and longer, we need to shorten the R&D one if we want to maintain our ability to improve our time to market. The third trend, which is standard as well, is obviously the digitalization. I mean, we develop machine learning tools, not yet to the extent of AI, but much more into the machine learning. And even if we are talking about, if we're in the sector which is the living, okay, we're talking about the living, we generated over the years an enormous amount of data, and we keep generating a lot of data with our customers, and that allows us to develop specific models which can help us in predict the performance of products, and this is becoming more and more important. We are also developing digital twins of not only the plants, but also some of the strains which we are using to produce enzymes. I mean, all this kind of digitalization is a key element, and if you don't integrate that, you lost. Okay, it's not a question. The question is not should we go or not. The question is how do we do it in the most efficient way, because the others are doing it as well. And then maybe more specific trends which are important for our, to some extent, it's a niche sector, and I'll come into that for the methionine sector. It's about energy efficiency. I mean, energy is costing more and more, and will cost more and more. So we have to develop processes which are requiring less energy, and sometimes the obvious one are not necessarily the ones we think about. Capex is an important matter. I mean, in the probably in about 10 years, the same plant now costs twice as much. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's and it increased significantly after COVID. But I mean, the cost of material to build plants has increased enormously. So we need to be very cautious in terms of capex, even if to some extent it's a nice barrier for others to enter. But I mean, this is not sustainable on the long term. Another one, which is regionalization. You're fully aware that in all the regions, people are looking for local for local. So how do we develop local products when you've got an increased cost of the regulation part, okay? And when you need to register a product, if you don't sell it globally, you don't have any return on investment, okay? So, I mean, how do you combine the necessity of having products per region while you need to register as well all the different products? And last but not least, the competitiveness of what we are doing, even in the specialty sector, where you might wonder or you might question the fact that competitiveness is not so much of importance, but yes, it is. I mean, in this domain, our customers don't necessarily have high margins, okay? And the customers of our customers, so basically our customers are the feed manufacturers or the integrators, and their customers are the farmers. So in that sector, the margins are very small, okay? So if you introduce a product which is not in line with what they can afford, even if it is highly performing, they won't take it. So you need to be very competitive in the way you develop technologies to make sure that people can have access to this kind of technologies as well. So these are basically the key trends for our sector.
A very incredibly well-stated summary of the trends that are going on in the industry across innovation leaders in many companies today.